Hey everybody, it is Prince's Friend, and we are back with the first review for the second week of Graffiti Bridge review weeks thing. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, the Graffiti Bridge movie was actually released on November 2nd of 1990. And it has a long list of cast members, but the main culprits are Prince as the Kid, Morris Day, Jerome, and The Time as Morris, Jerome, and The Time, and Ingrid Chavez as Aura. There are obviously cameos from Mavis Staples, Tevin Campbell, George Clinton, and Robin Powers, a slew of different people, but those are the main ones that have like big speaking roles and whatnot. Prince wrote the movie, starred in it, and directed it, so there was very little room here for anybody else's vision of how it would go. This was all him. This is exactly what he wanted us to see. It wasn't somebody took it and edited it in a different way. Like this was his creation. So, movies never really did Prince wrong. Seriously, like Purple Rain, huge hit. Under the Cherry Moon, bad movie reviews, but got him huge album sales. Sign of the Times, double success. Movie and album both did amazingly. Batman, hits. So, another movie kind of just made sense for Prince. There was a progression of Prince's obsession with movies, though. He went from being a star to being a star and the director to being the star, director, composer, and now he wrote everything. I mean, it's just crazy. So every step of the way, he's been doing more and more of it. According to Terry Lewis, who is a member of The Time, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, if for those who don't know the individual names without them being together, the film was originally a vehicle for The Time, but in the end, that story got lost and it became a Prince picture. He says, but that was cool. I think our rapport with Prince is better now than it's ever been because there's a mutual respect in the air. Plus, we got to hang out for 6 months on somebody else's budget. So the movie went through a few different leading ladies as well, getting up to actually making the movie. Madonna was a contender. Kim Basinger was a contender, but they kind of fell out. She was going to do it while they were together, and then kind of fell apart right before. But eventually it ended on Ingrid Chavez, on her taking the role of Aura. The movie cost $10 million and was shot in Paisley Park in just over a month. The album was released in August of 1990, but there was extensive edits and reshoots needed for the movie, so its release wasn't until November, which, as we've seen with these releases, if the movie and the album aren't released at the same time, they're not able to help promote each other, and they both kind of fail a little bit. And sadly, even though the movie cost $10 million to make, it made $4.6 million back, so it is officially a loss. Sadly. So the basic plot is pretty simple, but I'm going to go ahead and have Morris Day tell you about the movie. In an interview, Morris Day explained, a sequel to Purple Rain is what it ended up being, and the role that The Time plays is, well, crooks. In Purple Rain, we were the small-time crooks, and now we've graduated to the big time. We own and control this area called Seven Corners, which is really 4 corners and 4 clubs. And everyone answers to us. It's really about the rivalry between us and the kid, Prince, who is the picked-on, felt-sorry-for hero. But in the end, he gets the girl, he beats us with a ballad, he changes our hearts and minds and makes us into good church-going individuals with a song. And he laughs. And Morris isn't wrong. The movie is basically the sequel to Purple Rain, which makes it immediately accessible for most fans. It also has a similar plot, though it is less inhibited by Prince trying to appeal to the masses. It's about 2 rival bands, one obsessed with money and power, The Time, and the other one trying to spread the message of spirituality and God, which is The Kid and his band, the New Power Generation, but not yet. It's still Prince right now. Apparently, Billy, the club owner from Purple Rain, left one of the clubs to both Prince and Morris. It was called the Glam Slam, but Morris wants it all, and he wants the kid to come up with the money that he needs, or he's going to kick him out and change the club entirely from being a spiritual place to being a place where it's just going to be all like all the other clubs, where it's all about money and sex. The kid challenges Morris to a battle of the bands, for control of the club. Apparently in the last battle, the one from Purple Rain, it ended in a draw, but this one is for ultimate control of the club. Along the way, Heaven sends an angel to Earth to help guide Prince and Morris toward the correct path. Of course, Morris immediately wants to jump her bones, and the kid wants to a bit too, but really she's there to make sure that the kid doesn't give up his fight. Spiritual music can win and will win the day. The characters themselves are written with pretty clear tones. So the kid and his band, they're the good guys. Morris and the Time, they're the obvious bad guys, and then everyone else is kind of somewhere in the middle. Cameos from other musicians like George Clinton, Mavis Staples, and Tevin Campbell are passably acted, but they don't make any kind of real impact on the plot of the movie. They're kind of just there as a way to kind of have some other fun music in the movie. Ingrid Chavez is kind of playing both sides, though, and I really like that about her character. She's trying to do whatever she can to make both sides of the conflict into good people. She's trying to get Morris on her side and kind of seduce him so that she can try and change him, and she's trying to get the kid to accept that his path of spiritual music is the right one. In short, the plot is pretty thin. It's kind of strung together with basically music videos. It was really about the music, and I think that's why Prince didn't really do a big search for great actors. He casted the people that he wanted, the people he had been collaborating with, and everybody mostly did as good as they could. There were a lot of really fun scenes in this movie. There's the one with Prince and Morris when he challenges to the Battle of the Bands, where the Time is going, yow, yow, yow.
Yow. Don't you know who I am? Yow, yow. I wrote the book. Yow, yow, yow.
I really like that scene. It's just really, really funny. And I think it also is really good for building on the story of Purple Rain.
I'll kick your little ass and have you running home to Mama good and plenty fast.
Tell him where you live, Morris.
Oh, and by the way, when's she getting out the nut house?
He reveals that after the kid's dad killed himself, and apparently he did actually die, he killed himself and recovered in the hospital. He did die. His mom went to the insane asylum, to the nut house, as Morris said. I liked that scene because it also kind of gave you a little bit more of the backstory that kind of led all the characters here. There was one more really, really awesome scene that when I watched this movie again, and it had been a while, but I watched it again around the anniversary of Prince's death, and I got to the point that this happened.
I have just one question for you.
I'm listening.
How do you want to die?
I just started crying. I didn't remember that line, and it's such a powerful line. It's delivered well. It has a lot of emotion attached to it. It just makes me know that I don't think Prince would have chosen to die the way that he did die. So it does make me a little sad. But let's go ahead and continue the rest of the review. So the movie is cleanly shot, full of bright colors. Unlike Purple Rain, which was mostly shot in dark clubs, these clubs have lots of neon lights and dancers doing choreography. Also, contrary to Purple Rain, everything is actually a lot happier. Even the sadder scenes are more contemplative than they are depressing. And I think this reflects where Prince was in his life, all about a lot more positivity than he was about having a darker story. There are a few weird angles taken with the direction, but we've experienced this from Under the Cherry Moon. Prince is a good director. I wouldn't necessarily say that he's a great director, so there are a few misses here and there. There weren't any issues with sound that I could hear, and there aren't any weird lip-syncing errors like there were in Under the Cherry Moon and Purple Rain. The music is kind of the star of this movie, though, and obviously that's really, really awesome. You obviously can go check out my review of the music itself, the album, for my thoughts on that. But the way that the music and everything is kind of given to us, It makes it more of a musical than a serious drama with musical elements. Purple Rain really only had a couple of motorcycle scenes where he's driving around and there's music playing in the background, but the majority of them is them on stage performing the songs. Here, there's people just randomly singing in the streets. There's definitely some that are on stage, random singing on the streets, definitely over the chase scene where Prince was chasing Morris Day to get Aura back. It makes it a lot more like a musical, a traditional musical. I think once again Prince kind of nails the performance of the kid, in my opinion. He brings a certain kind of joy to this role, but he is able to nail so many different emotions that you can tell that his acting chops have gotten way better over the years.
Should have let me rap. Damn, this is embarrassing.
It's hard to see green. When there's so much blue.
When you see what he's got with him, you will be.
Yeah, what?
Your future wife, that's what.
Oh?
That said, the kid is still not as likable as I would want him to be. As a character, he ignores everything if it's not music, and he has to talk himself out of sexually assaulting an unconscious woman that he just saved from Morse, who was also thinking about sexually assaulting an unconscious woman. I had actually forgotten about that particular detail, but they became really uncomfortable this time around when I was watching them. I think other than that giant glaring issue, the role is well acted. I also really liked the kids' rapport with Jill Jones and the couple of scenes that they had and their banter back and forth. I love the scene where she took off her panties. That was hilarious.
Morris in the mix now? What kind of noise is that?
So Morris Day actually did become a scene stealer in this movie, as he does in most of the things that he's in.
Like I always say, if you want something done, hire good people to do it.
His comedic scenes with Jerome weren't as good as Prince and Jerome's scenes from Under the Cherry Moon for me, but the way that the movie made it Morris and Jerome versus Robin Powers, who was Morris's girlfriend in the movie, I thought that was genius, and I loved all of the scenes with the Time. I liked that the Time got lots of speaking roles. All the different members got to at least say something, so I thought that was really, really fun. Ingrid Chavez, though, she did a little bit of overacting.
No, baby.
But it wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. She obviously was not an actress. Her movements, her speech patterns, they just didn't seem natural. But then again, she was a celestial. She was an angel just taking human form. So maybe these grandiose movements and her speaking super melodically and stuff, maybe that was purposeful to show that she wasn't quite human. I don't know, it's a theory.
So in conclusion...
So Graffiti Bridge is an exploration of where Prince's music had come to that point. It was backed by an amazing soundtrack, but it was built mostly as a vanity project. Prince didn't care about the acting, so the acting wasn't great. He directed, wrote, and starred in it, so the movie lacked what I call the bullshit filter, and that's the kind of thing that can end with a really awesome idea, not truly living up to its potential. That said, it's a movie that I've seen quite often. I do go back to it a lot, not because it's necessarily a great movie, but because it's one of the most epic Prince experiences around. You just put that movie in, and you just listen, and you just let the music kind of wash over you. And that's what Graffiti Bridge is to me. So thank you for watching the review for the Graffiti Bridge movie. Hopefully you did enjoy that. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And let's continue the discussion about the movie in the comments. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and may you live to see the dawn.